Yes, here we go. It is the P.M.P. It is a day where Celtic had the most electric first half. One of, maybe not the most electric first half of the season. Massive changes made. Nearly all of them scored. Everything fell into place. Some spectacular goals. Nothing to be even remotely negative about. There's just so many good conversations that we're going to be able to have tonight. And luckily for you guys and me and Terry, we're on live 5 hours earlier than we were last weekend. So, I'm sure we've had a couple of drinks, but it'll be nothing like last time around, which could be a good or a bad thing. I'll do all that good stuff. And then what we're going to do is we twist tonight is, because Terry takes all the notes, we're going to flip it. We're going to flip it. And we're going to get Terry to go through the game blow by blow and give his wee spins, his takes, and ask me questions, just for a wee change. But yes, all that good stuff means do give us a like. Please hit the like button or the dislike button. I think it still helps the algorithm, even if you do that. Make sure you hit the share button if you've got a wee chance. Put it on your socials. It gets other folks seeing the bus. If you've not already subscribed, hit subscribe. It's free. And if you have subscribed, then hit the bell beside it and you never miss a bus, even a late one. I know we're about 8-9 minutes late, so apologies to those waiting in the freezing cold at whatever bus stop they were at. Also, Bhoycie Bus members, we've got loads. $1.99 a month. It helps keep the wheels on the road. The team are feeling the ripple effects of that now. It's a massive, massive thing for us because we are just a wee small podcast. We're not one of those juggernauts that, just take. We've got Bhoycie Bus members like Warren's Team Talk, like MM, like Danish, like Teresa Lyle, Maeda, who's been here since the start, Martin Kay, loads more, Gary Brown, loads he is. And also go to piesports.com if you're looking for a tasty pastry treat. 12.5% off if you use the code BUS. 1888. Terry, how are you?
I'm brilliant, Bhoycie. Absolutely brilliant. Bit pissed off. I didn't get my bet builder up. I got all the hard bets, and the only bet I didn't get was a goal in the second half. But
how often does that happen? The first half is that electric, the second half dies off.
We've had it this season where we had a really good first half, and then you remember the game against Dundee last season where we were 6 up, and the second half ended up 1 each. It just happens so often, and
the Rangers one's always the big one. I think Brendan's first spell, isn't it? Remember, we were 4-0 up at half time, 5-0 up at half time, and then
you're thinking all sorts
4-0, and we scored. I think right after half time, Calmac scored, and you thought, "Oh fucking hell!" 47 minutes, and we've already kicked off the second half the way we finished the first, and you thought then this could be, and then it just all sort of petered out. But anyway, Terry, you've been watching the game today. You've got the blow by blow accounts. Give us your takes and ask me any wee spin-offs that you want me to contribute towards.
Well, firstly, you only told me we were flipping it about a second before we went live. And today of all days, I haven't really made any notes because I just sat and watched it. But I'm going to totally wing it. If you see me looking over my shoulder, it's because my TV's up there, and I've just seen Arsenal doing one of their corner routines, which they always do, which isolates Gabriel, and the ball lands straight on his head, and they score so many of the same goals. I'm just saying that I care, because go back to our conversation during the week where we talked and we agreed for one of the very few times in the last 3 years that Celtic don't take enough advantage of set pieces because we just take them short and then recycle the ball. The amount of times that team scores from their set pieces is unreal. And I still think there's a place for bringing your defenders up and putting the ball into the mixer. But anyway, enough about all our games. Let's look at Celtic's game today. We obviously were on during the week, Bhoycie. We'd had the Champions League game, and we went during the week with the lineup that we expected Brendan Rodgers to go with. We did say if there was no changes today, we would be absolutely flabbergasted. There were changes today. Were they the changes that you expected? Were they the number of changes that you expected? Would you have done anything differently? What's your thoughts on the lineup?
I think with the lineup, the thing was...
I'll just interrupt you there. No, go ahead.
Is that right? Sorry, I've not had enough vodka for that, mate. Sorry. I'm actually trying to save you when I do that, mate. That's the thing.
Have you got your optic ready?
Red top. See, I plan these things out. I just tell you the last minute.
This all day. You should have given me a heads up. Anyway, lineup. Yes. Let's go.
Yeah, I think with the lineup changes, to be totally honest, that is, I think, what the fans would have picked. In terms of the midfield, it was, Hatate, in my opinion, was getting rightful jip. And of course, Ingles was getting over the top jip, in my opinion, from midweek. He didn't really do much wrong. He didn't do a lot right. Whereas Hatate was, I thought, appalling. But we've swapped them both out. We brought in McCowan. We've brought in Bernardo. That's what the fans wanted. Left back, I think the Vai thing's been cleared up Barcelona. I think the judge has been spot on with that. I think he wasn't going to play, whilst there was an assumption he'd be recalled in January. And I think that being sort of ironed out that, no, he'll be here for the whole season, I've now got the feeling that that's why he's now going to be back to being more involved again as he was before. Up front, Idah definitely was due a start. And Liam Scales came back in. I wasn't sure if it was going to be keep Trusty going right now, because I think he's in the richest vein of form of all the centre-halves. But instead, it was a show of faith for CCV. I don't think there's any gripes with the changes. But the only thing is, the last time we made that amount of changes, remember it didn't really work? I struggle to remember who the opposition was. Remember it was at home again, and we were pretty flat. So I'm glad it's worked out today. But when I seen it, I was a wee bit worried at first. I just thought it's the right changes personnel-wise, but when there's that many, just with that most recent memory, I thought, fuck. I hope we don't put it.
I thought it was pretty much spot on, and Idah went one more, and I've been clamouring for it, and I even clamoured for it at half time. Was this goalkeeper? He's the only player in the first team squad that hasn't had any game time. What messages is Brendan sending out here? Because he could have started today. Kasper Schmeichel had next to nothing to do. He could have brought him on at halftime. There's nothing to say you can't bring a goalkeeper on and give him 45 minutes. Would we have found out whether he's any good or not? No, because he wouldn't have had anything to do. But I still just think there's something in my gut that tells me at some point this season, this guy's going to be required and he's going to be thrown in there. And I would at least like him to have 45 or 90 minutes of playing in the first
team. Cup games either, eh?
The Celtic Park crowd. Huh?
Because he's not at the cup games either, which I thought might have been the... I thought might be, I don't know.
Absolutely zero. But anyway, that's for another day, because the manager keeps kicking that can down the road. And I don't know whether it's him giving a message, which he likes to do subtly or not so subtly. Maybe this was a board signing, and maybe this guy isn't at the level, and the manager is just re-emphasising that by not giving him any game time whatsoever. How long? Back to Carter Vickers. So do you think if Carter Vickers hadn't had that howler moment during the week, that he wouldn't have played today, because he doesn't normally play 3 games in a week, and with his injury record, you probably want to protect him more than any of the other guys? Do you think the manager played him today because if he didn't play him today, the player may have felt he was getting punished for that one moment? Do you think that played into the
massively? Massively. I think the original decision is Scales plays first and foremost. Scales is going to get his game at home to Ross County, right, to keep him alive, if you like, in terms of, or lively in terms of match sharpness and fitness. So he's playing. Probably the assumption would have been CCV 3 games in a week, the natural one to come out. Things have changed, and now it's a show of support, defiance, and not in being the fact. Let's just look at the facts. It was a coasting of a game. Get a wee game against the team that, just get the confidence levels back up as well. One that you'll coast through and get the memory, or your most recent memory, being that than being, obviously midweek. Albeit, I thought in the second half, what I liked about Cameron Carter-Vickers midweek was he didn't play like a guy with that on his shoulders, which is so important. It's not that you don't care about making a mistake, but if you let them linger and you let them fester, that's actually weakness. It's about acknowledging you made a mistake, but then playing the rest of the game as if it never happened. That's what it takes to be, above the national average of footballer. I do think, though, Trusty starts that guy. I wonder, though, as well, Trusty getting the good news with his baby and stuff like that. Like, look, it might have all just coincided. A baby. But yeah, Scales was definitely going to start today. So it was going to be...
How good was he, by the way?
I thought he was brilliant. I think he shows that there's 3 guys going for 2 positions, and you're relaxed now. Vlaga Bielka last season was a panic.
To strut a wee bit? starting to strut a bit. He's got a wee bit of arrogance around him, and the thing about Scales Bhoycie now is he genuinely is what you've said there. He's genuinely a first team pick, and it's 3-2 out of those 3 players. I thought he looked like, yes, it's Ross County. It doesn't matter. He's done it. He's done it on the European stage. I thought he was immense today at both ends of the park. He gives us the lead. He scored, I think that's 3 for the season, but he scored important goals. And you might look at today, 5-0 home to Ross County. It's still the first goal is the important one, the one that breaks the deadlock, the one that knocks any spirit that they would have out of them. And he's chipped in with important goals. I just thought there was something about his performance today. He was just really, really assured. I think he's a guy, and I was saying this to my dad during the game today. Liam Scales gets a move to Scotland from the League of Ireland, which let's face it, if you were playing in the League of Ireland at the age that he was, albeit, yes, he's still a young lad, but most promising players in Ireland, north or south, get picked up in their early to mid-teens. Liam Scales was still playing in the League of Ireland into his 20s. So he's the chances of him having a professional career at a decent level, he'd probably passed the threshold where that's likely to happen. And when he came in, it had all the hallmarks of a Dermot Desmond. There's people actually saying there was a conspiracy where Dermot Desmond was trying to give money. It was almost money laundering, giving money to another club that he had an interest in, making it look as if it was a transfer just to give them a financial boost. There was nonsense like that being spouted around.
Laziness, isn't it? It's laziness and opinion.
This guy has grasped this with both hands, and maybe if he had got a move to Scotland or England when he was 16 or 17, maybe it wouldn't have worked. Everything happens at the time it happens in life for a reason, and Liam Scales has got his chance. And he came in, he was unfancied, unfashionable. Was he a left back? Was he a left-sided centre back? And out to Aberdeen, my goodness, he's kicked on and he's now strutting it. And I know today was Ross County at home, but that doesn't matter. Translate that to any of the European games that he's played in. He's played at a similar level. And I think last year we kept saying, he'd reached his peak and that was as far as he could go. And we needed to replace him and bring in somebody better. I think he's kicked on again. I think that competition that Trusty has brought, and I get the qualities that Trusty has, and I think the yard of pace is absolutely key. And I think he's maybe a little bit more classy on the ball, but not an awful lot. But I think Scales has kicked on again. I think he's an even better player than the one that we had last season. And there's even an argument that if you look at the games this season, it was always Carter Vickers plus someone else, and it was always Carter Vickers made the other centre back look better. But even just take this last week an example. Trusty looked better during the week. Trusty carried, yeah, but I thought Scales looked. You wouldn't have looked at those two today and said Carter Vickers is a million miles better than Liam Scales. Yeah. I think you've now got 3, and it gives us a chance to manage Carter Vickers' minutes. I agree with you. I think if he doesn't have that error during the week, or maybe the baby thing has more to do with it. Maybe Trusty's had a bit of time off, and
he's not having the baby, is he?
The baby. Maybe that's played into it a little bit. Let's just to bring this Carter Vickers one to an end. We've obviously got Aberdeen during the week, which up until a week ago was looking like a really pivotal moment. If we go there and get 3 points, league's done and dusted in my book, and that's not being arrogant. That's just being, I just don't see any way this. Yep. Even if Aberdeen don't take points tomorrow, and remember we're only at the very end of November, start of December here, and yep. I know that at a point in time Rangers had an 8-point lead last season and Celtic overturned it. It's completely different. It's completely
Before we
different.
drift into that, just on the skills thing, just to go,
Yeah.
just so we can wrap that up. I think it's interesting with skills too that, see, when Ange came in, we didn't have, obviously it was a skeleton squad almost when Ange Postecoglou first came in. And when Rodgers came in, it was obviously identified by, the recruitment team or whatever you want to fucking call them, that centre-back was a glaring position we needed to strengthen in. And we brought in Gustav Lagerbielke, we brought in Narovsky, and then Rodgers obviously wasn't keen on them and thought, right, alone whilst Cameron Carter-Vickers gets back to fitness, we'll get the guy for Liverpool in. And it seems like what Rodgers actually identified that, or I say identify, in fact, because based on performances now it is, he's seen something in skills Ange didn't, which is quite interesting because Ange's need was greater for skills to be a good player than what Rodgers was, because Celtic strengthened that department or added depth to that department, added options to that department far more than what Postecoglou had. And yet Rodgers looked through a bigger pack, if you like, has seen something in skills that obviously Ange, when it was easier, if you like, to see what skills could bring to the table, such as the lack of options, he didn't seem to see the same traits, which just interesting, different styles of management or different eyes on the game that they both have. Then you've got, in terms of what you said about, you thought he's, I think, peacocking a bit. Would that be a fair way to describe it? You thought he had a wee bit of
plumage. Yeah? Plumage.
Well, do you know what? See, sometimes, like in the boxing world, for example, right now they're saying there's a guy called Martin Bacoli who supports Celtic, by the way, trains in Scotland, heavyweight juggernaut. No one wants to fight him, right? And do you know the reason they want to fight him? Because there's a chance they'll lose. But the reason is to fight him and potentially lose, there's not a big enough reward because he doesn't sell himself. And I wonder if Scales is going, you need to start selling yourself a bit more, like become a big person, a bigger character in the team. So it is more of a outrage when you're taken out, as opposed to Liam Scales. We're still talking about Shamrock Rovers. He joined 5 years ago, or 4 or 5 years. Why are we talking about that? I don't blame you for it, by the way. But I just wonder if there's wee bits that he needs to shake all that shite off, that I had a loan spell at Aberdeen, I was at Shamrock Rovers. He needs to now be, I'm more of a presence in this Celtic first team squad, and it should be more upsetting or offensive or debatable when I'm left out of it than it was. And I agree, I definitely think he was a wee bit more, I don't know, a bit more swagger to him. He's strutting a bit more.
Swagger's the word. Swagger, strut, peacock. And see the Scales one. Let's bring that round to an end. And there's two things. And the Christmas video, I know we already touched on it on another one. Some people like it, some people don't. But did I assume you've seen it? Did you pick up on the wee bit where Scales couldn't control himself when they were recreating the bit from the inside sort of fly in the wall bit where you had Rodgers with everybody.
Yeah.
This is paradise for us, and we need to make it hell for them. They recreated that with Joe,
yes.
And Scales just couldn't stop the laughter. I thought that was brilliant the way they left that in. But the Scales one, to bookend it, so we got a player from Republic of Ireland, from the Irish League, for $500,000, whatever it is. This summer past, we were linked with Republic of Ireland defender Dara O'Shea from relegated Burnley, who'd been in the Premiership.
That's right.
For £8 million. And supporters were getting their knickers in a twist. Get this guy in, upgrade, $8 million.
Mm-hmm.
Get him in. Liam Scales is keeping Dara O'Shea out of centre back.
Yeah.
So he's either keeping him out or he's forcing him to play out of position, because Liam Scales is now first choice left centre back for Republic of Ireland. And the moral of the story is, where the player's coming from doesn't matter. What the fee is doesn't matter. It's what that player does whenever he gets in and gets that Celtic shirt on his back. And that lad has done superb. Carter-Vickers, to bring that one round full circle, that's 3 games in a week, Bhoycie. We've Aberdeen during the week. We've Hibs next weekend. We've Zagreb the midweek after. And we've
please Aberdeen, skip Hibs, please Zagreb.
Rangers Cup final the weekend after. So that's another 4 massive games in the next 2 weeks. You've already tried to answer the question. Carter-Vickers, out of 3 games this week and the next 4 is 7. I wouldn't expect him to play more than 5. What's your thoughts on how much he plays over the next 2 weeks?
He'll play Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Skips Hibs, plays Zagreb.
Skips Hibs, plays Zagreb, but then plays the cup final, obviously, as well.
But he'll need to miss. Ideally, he'd miss 2.
One. Yeah.
But ideally, he would miss 2. But in such is the nature of these next 4 fixtures, there's only one that you could take a. No, it's not a punt. It's just that if you could pick one to give him a breather on, it's got to be that one.
It's a breather. It's not a punt anymore because the other 2 guys are.
But this is it. This is bona fide. And I think when you look back now, and you think what we did at Ibrox when we got that 1-0 win August, September time last season, and you think it was Lagerbielke and Scales, and Rodgers obviously had this faith in Scales, but the fans hadn't seen a manager with faith in him. We didn't have a reason to have this much faith in him either. So we seen Scales, Lagerbielke, centre back. You think then Lagerbielke was the dodgy one, remember that day, massively. Now we're in a situation where Cameron Carr-Vickers comes out, it's Trusty and Scales, or Cameron Carr-Vickers comes out and it's Trusty coming in and Scales already in the team. Either way, these rotations are cool. This is called strength, and this is called sort of cutting off the fat, right? And it's going, right, it's great to say we've got 5, 6 centre-backs going for the 2 positions, but really, in Rodgers' mind, he's got 3.
Yeah. 100%.
That's the reality. And I love the fact he scored the goal early. Brilliant header. But just to round off, the header with confidence. Like even the way he flicks it, you go, fucking hell, he did that like a striker. You know, it was brilliant. And good on him.
Yeah, so next 2 weeks are massive on 3 different fronts, where the Champions League game will go a long way to deciding whether we progress to the next stage, which we all expect at this stage we will. But at that level, there's no gimmies. And that game in Croatia, I said during the week, I'm hopeful of a win. I think we can definitely get a draw. But would I be surprised if we lost? No. Young boys of Bern, they'll come to Celtic Park, and I think everybody's already sort of banking those 3 points. You'll still have to do a job on that. There's no mugs. There's no mugs at that level. You've still got to get the job done. Then Wednesday night against Aberdeen, that could go a long way to securing the league.
What about
title.
the second goal we scored today?
Don't even know. Is it Wednesday? It's Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure what it is during the week. That'll go a long way to deciding the title. And then you've obviously got the first trophy of the season in a fortnight's time in the Rangers game. You've talked about we've kind of done the first goal there.
Yep.
9 minutes in, comes off the back of 3 corners in the first 9 minutes. So Celtic are on the front foot right from the first whistle. And we make the breakthrough. Bernardo was taking all the set pieces. He was front and centre on everything today. So we've gone 1-0 up. We still keep the pressure up. With 5 corners in the first 14 minutes. That's just incessant. That's just domination from the first whistle. Signal of intent. The new guys have come in and they're all hungry. Scales is hungry because Scales, he feels now that he's a first team player. He wants his place back. McCowan's come in. He's come from Dundee, where he's the star man. He's come to Celtic, the move of his dreams. He wants to play football. He feels he's good enough. He's got confidence about him. He's got a presence when he's on that park. And I think the stat reads 3 starts and 3 goals, something along those lines. He comes in and he does not look 1 inch out of place. Bernardo has been absolutely chomping at the bit to get a game. He was let off the leash today. He looked like somebody that wanted to show he's worthy of a first team place. He's ready to play in the Champions League games. He's ready to play in the cup final. I just thought the changes today, and I'll even throw Idah in there. Big man's come in, big price tag.
He's fucking brilliant today.
Last season, he's hungry.
He was brilliant today.
Bhoycie, he's hungry. He feels he's worth Greg Taylor's jersey. He's a young kid, been at Barcelona, trying to make the breakthrough at the very. I think the thing about all of those guys.
He's had 2 weeks as well with his head in the clouds, mate. Like, if there's a wee bit of, sort of substance to the stories, which I think there is, because it wouldn't come out and now be clarified that Barcelona aren't going to recall him in January.
There's probably been conversations there.
There's obviously been his head, and Rodgers went, right, fuck that, because he's not really ready to play when his head's in that space. And he's 20 years old. First time he's moved out his own town. all this shit, and it's to Glasgow, to this cauldron. Like, I think, with him, fair play. I think they've managed it the right way, but now we've got the clarity on he'll be here to the end of the year. Expect to see him the left back role, I think, more often than not.
The thing is, those players, Scales, Bhoycie, Bernardo McCowan, Idah, hungry, absolutely starving for game time, all feeling they're worth their place in the first team. I think that's the key thing about those guys coming in. And the other one then that's come in is James Forrest. And James Forrest is hungry because James Forrest is coming to the end of his career. He knows he's got a limited time period. He's starving as well. He wants to
Celtic winning.
He's
just a team guy. He just loves Celtic winning. Anything for the cause, mate. Like, he's not the same trajectory as the rest. But what I felt was with the changes that were made is as well, we're not substituting the quality bit. What you're now getting today was an opportunity to sort of do comparisons, right? For example, so I think when we go to Zagreb, I would be going Callum, Bernardo, Engels, right? Then, on the back of today, if you're just isolating today's display, you would say a viable option, if you don't want to see a repeat of midweek against Bruges, would be our home game against Young Boys. I know a lot will happen in between then. For the basis of today. You take a Tatty out as being your maverick player, and a guy who likes to take on the half turn and be creative and be inventive, or you swap that for Luke McCowan. When you look at it, you go, there's options. Like, these are now combinations. What I like with Luke McCowan, the half turn we spoke about midweek, Rio Tatty loves it, and I think Joe Hart was kind of saying he tries to do it too often. But we said, if you remember, about Luke McCowan's first touch, I think it was his second, third game, we went, his touch. And that's what leads to that goal. See his first touch there for that strike. I know it gets deflected, but who cares? That's his. It's the way he put the ball 100, hit the moon back. He brings it down, mate. Every single time, kills it. His first touch and the willingness of him to take it on the half turn, very similar to Tatty. Now, let's look at the levels of opposition. Ross County and Club Bruges are a million miles apart. Let's be real. Bruges beat what we think is the hardest game we've got in the Champions League, Villa. I drew with them, I think. Right, or did they beat them? I think they beat them.
Bruges beat Villa.
Aye, they beat them. So this is a proper opposition. So it's easier to look crap against that, and it's easier to look good against Ross County. But what you did get a glimpse of was, if you're going to have a guy who takes risks, and you're going to have a player who tries things that other players won't, that come with, as I say, high risk, and potentially giving the ball away. Luke McCowan now looks to me like, well, if it didn't work with Tatty last time in Europe, there's your other guy. Put him in the same role. But do that in the home match against Young Boys Bern. I think away from home, I think you go Bernardo, McGregor, and Engels. These are great conversations to be having now, Terry.
Yeah, loads of options. And there's something about McCann. I just feel the supporters really, really want this guy to do well. And
that should come into it, though.
No. I
thought that today as well, and I thought, is it clouding everything, though? Like, when I seen him in the lineup, I felt a jolt of excitement, and I thought, is it a wee bit? We don't want him also. He's not a wee, like, it's always, wee McCowan, and look how happy he is to be here. That's got fuck all to do with you doing the 90 minutes.
I don't think so, boys. Mikey Johnson loves Celtic and wanted to be there, and there was none of that with him. No, I genuinely think
the ball in the net more than.
I don't think so. I think if you're producing the goods, and I think this lad, he has done every opportunity he's got, and if he doesn't produce the goods, the supporters will not want him to come on. The support, I think you've got to be doing the job. I mean, there's a bit of me whenever I see him just with the bleached hair, and he just reminds me. It was bleached when he signed, but it just reminded me a wee bit of. Remember a wee bit when Lenny came in, and I just took to Lenny because he was from here, and because he was from here, and he was a Northern Ireland player living out my dream and all that kind of stuff. But McCowan,
very quickly, Terry. See on the hair. Yeah. Tell me the quote, right? So I've read Lenny's book. Obviously, he released it, I think, when he was still playing for Celtic. I remember reading it. He said, O'Neill pulls him at the office and he goes, "Why'd you do it?" He goes, "Do what?" He goes, "Why?" why'd you dye your fucking hair like that? He goes, oh, I want to be different. And he goes, different? Score a fucking goal on Saturday. Because he was even getting 1 goal a season. O'Neill, I just thought that was absolutely priceless. Different. He's like, you want to be different? He goes, fucking be different. Score a goal.
Some of the best quotes ever from Martin O'Neill. I've got Lenny's book, right? I'm not a big book reader, I have to say that, but I do buy books. But I bought the Lenny book, and the day that it came out, he was in Belfast in a Waterstones, and I didn't realize this. I had ordered the book, but unknown to me, one of my Rangers supporting friends I'd asked him to go in and collect it for me, but he actually proactively went and found out when Lenny was going to be in the shop, and he went when Lenny was in the shop, and he got it signed for me and shit like that. So I've got Lenny's book. It's signed. It's made out to Terry from Neil Lennon, and blah blah blah. The same mate also on my wedding day got me a card. He wrote to Neil Lennon, and he got me a wedding card wishing me and my wife all the best for fucking marriage and all the rest. So I have a great Rangers supporting friend who's really good like that. And if you look, you'll never see my wedding album, but on the wedding cake, you know the way you've usually got the bride and the groom in a wee like character. I had the wee football character of Neil Lennon sitting on the cake. I had one of my mates set up to get that on there. Yeah, so we're the bride and groom, the wee.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Lenny was sitting. He's in all the fucking photographs. He's in all the pictures of the cake. Fucking Lenny just standing there with it. But anyway,
just to confirm, you're definitely in one of the pictures. Just to confirm that you are like someone definitely married you.
I definitely know. When you were doing the intro there, I was running up to get the heat off. I know I'm married. I'm allowed 2 hours a day of heat down in my man cave. And see if it goes past the 2 hours, I can see her flicking the light on and off. There's an outside light, and she flicks it on and off.
The signal
to let me know the fucking heat's too long to get it off. Dickhead, put a coat on if you're still cold.
No, I try and give you enough heat as well, mate. I'm trying to help your wife's cause. You know what I mean? I usually give you plenty of heat on the P.M.P.
Let's try and bring it back to the game today. So we've done the Scales goal. We've talked about McCowan. Let's bring it together, because the second goal is McCowan brilliance from a Scales assist. Talk me through it.
Like I say, it's the first touch. Kind of, I was describing it earlier. The first touch we were talking about that Luke McCowan has weeks and weeks and weeks ago. He just epitomises it there, and then you'll get your bit of luck. You know, you start off like that, and yeah, it's a wee bit fortunate the way it deflects in, but listen, the way he brings that ball down there and the timing of the run, it's a great ball by Scales. I think someone in the chat was saying if he was called Leonardo Scalesioli or something like that, you know, it'd be what a left foot, you know, a wand of a left foot. But yeah, the way McCowan does that, times he's run perfect, mate. It's all about substance as well. It's not always about, you know, it looks great that he brings the ball down. What then happened? The fuck all happened and nobody cares. But what he does is he brings the ball down with an absolute deft touch, and he gets a shot away. So, fair play to him.
Okay, so we're 2-0 up in 20. We're 2-0 up in 26. Total dominance. There's no threat at the other end at all. I think they'd won effort they'd won an opportunity where the guy probably should have done better, but the game's completely in our midst. Blasted into Rose Ed. Yeah, the game's done and dusted. But the third goal comes in just 10 minutes before halftime. Maeda is instrumental. I think he gets thwarted the first time, and he then, usual hard working, gets another opportunity, finds Bernardo. And we've seen this from Bernardo Bhoycie quite a lot in the game time that he's had. He picks up positions in and around the edge of the box, and he's got great feet. He's able to move the ball from left to right or right to left really quickly. He's got this move where he feints to shoot and gets it onto the other side and either gets a shot away or then feints and goes back again. He's overdone it maybe even a few times, but he got his rewards today. I think he was always going to score today, Bernardo.
I want to talk about the media bit because I'm glad you said it.
You do that,
So see when he did the chop back, obviously like he did midweek, and then his end product was that ridiculous strike that wasn't with his left foot, as you were trying to tell our audience. But
I said it was left foot the other
yeah, he
night.
said left foot. Yeah, I
No,
was
I
trying to
didn't.
correct. I was trying to correct you. I was like, right
No,
foot.
I didn't say left foot.
I promise. Oh, I promise. I was trying to like help you out, but you weren't listening. I
Look,
promise.
you're gonna have to listen up back. Bhoycie,
Watch it.
I was on water.
I'll
I
make
was
a
in
wee
water.
clip.
There's no way I
Anyway,
said it was his left foot.
yeah,
Clip
you
it
did.
from it. There's no way it did.
I'll clip it for you. I'll put it online. Right. Anyway, yeah, I promise. Anyway,
You sound
he
like
does
a
the
Rangers
cut back
fan.
again. But what he's changed that I love is Maeda used to be, we used to call him, remember Danger Maeda? And it was Chaos Jack and Max. You thought these two guys play, you can't predict what they're going to do. Maeda to me looks like he's thinking more about, he's still doing all the work that he's always done, but he gets into it and it's like he's having an extra second thought now. And his cutback initially deserved a goal. We don't get it. He gets back on side, mate, remember, as well. He's been probably over the byline. He's managed to get back on side within 5 seconds, gets it again, still keeps a level head. Rather than just fizzing it the second time. Do you know what I mean? Because you'd be, the first one I did the cutback, didn't happen. Your adrenaline's running. Nope, took his time again. This time the cutback brings a reward. And I think Maeda, that's the big difference for him now. He looks like he is more thinking than just instinctive. Now, his instincts won't be getting at any point tamed from him. They won't be taking any of that away. But he definitely looks like a player thinking like a footballer now more than what he was. But everything's been quite impulsive with him before, if I'm honest. Those examples and midweek's example tells me he's just having he sees clear. And to do it twice in a row that quick is not the Dies and Maeda I've associated, to be honest with you, since he's been here. One might be the perfect cutback. If we don't get the goal for that, something's happening crazy with the second ball 5 seconds later in the same position. He doesn't do that, and he got his rewards. I like that.
Is it a bit of a stretch to say he showed composure?
Composure's the word. I totally think it's right.
Can you believe you're saying it? Can you believe you're saying it? Huh?
Well, I'm amazed I was able to pronounce it, but yeah, I think he does feel like he's evolving. Like, you know, if some players play with a lot of players get credit for being able to, they could read the game. You know, didn't need to run that much. Maeda's the opposite. He is all about what he brings to the kilometre charts and energy and the press, and then it's, you know, it could be 1 in 5 crosses that are half decent. It could be 1 in 10 shots that look great. This past few days, between midweek and between what we've seen there, that example, there are 2 examples today, look like a guy who's just got a clearer mind and thinking a wee bit more about what he's going to do. Now he's in the exact same positions he always gets into, just thinking about it more clearly. And I love the fact he did it. He repeated his trick that he'd done just 10 seconds before, rather than showing frustration and just fizzing one in, which I think a lot of people could easily have done the second time, going, right, well, I thought about it first time, that did fuck all. In the same position, whack it. Instead, exact same again, checks back, has a look, we get rewards. That's the difference in Maeda now.
Let's take it back in then to the starting lineup, boys. So there's 6 changes, but Dyson Maeda still plays. Is that a message?
He's Bendon's guy, mate.
Yeah, but is where I'm going with this? Is that another message? If we look at the story that came out from the club's trusted source, Stephen McGowan, about where Celtic's priorities are in January. Now, I haven't seen this myself, but I heard that Stephen McGowan said that his sources tell him that the 2 areas of focus for January are a left winger and a young centre forward to play as a third choice to Kyogo and Idah. The fact that Maeda still plays, despite all the changes, despite the fact that Kuhn has been our shining light above everyone else this year, is Maeda playing today another message from the manager to say, I can't afford to leave him out because I don't have anyone else that I can trust on the left-hand side?
No. I only see it as you can make, there's got to be some sort of cap you're going to put in the changes you're going to make. There's still a game of football to win. And therefore, there's going to be, that's like saying then, despite all the midfield options we've got, which you've just like literally waxed lyrical about, that can't take Callum McGregor out the team though. You realistically could, but he's chosen to take other ones out the team that he felt maybe didn't have a great night on Wednesday, and reward the ones that are still in, training with a positive attitude that kind of fit the positions that would replace that. You can't do 11 changes. He ain't going to do that. Maeda's one of the 5 that stayed in the team. I'm not sure about the subliminal message, but to be honest with you.
Does Maeda start all 4 of these key games
Yes,
in
100%.
3 competitions?
I mean, no doubt of that. No
so
doubt.
He is. If he's fit, he starts every game.
Did Henrik Larsson start every game? I know I'm not comparing them as ability-wise.
No.
But there was never a question about
importance to the team.
I think sometimes some folk go like, "What are you talking about? I don't need a rest. I don't want a rest." He's what, 27 right now, Maeda. He looks right now. We've got him entering, and I think the peak years of a footballer came earlier now. I think 27, 28 used to be sort of 29 to 31. I think it's now been brought. I think it's a wee bit earlier now in football terms. They extend their career now by adapting the position, but with Maeda, I think they've got him right now in his prime. This is the best football his career has played. He'll play every game.
It's almost Bhoycie like he needs to be running all the time, and if he stops running, there'll be a malfunction or something. Like it's like speed. It's like the bus. If it goes below a certain speed, it'll blow up the movie.
I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know what.
If he stops running,
this conversation was going.
If he stops running, something will go wrong. I was thinking about this. I think it was either this morning or yesterday morning. Whenever I was out doing my morning 5K, which isn't a run, it's not even a jog. It's a slog, a morning 5K slog, which I've started to put myself through. But what I was thinking about the Japanese players and the three guys that have been playing for us for the last couple of years now, Kyogo, Maeda and Hatate, and the work rate, the amount of running that they go through, the pressing that they do. And what my thoughts were is, is the way these guys play, is it going to take a toll on their body? Does it mean they're going to have a shorter career at peak level? Or is the lifestyle that these guys live, the way that they look after themselves, the way that they train, the way that they eat, is that going to prolong their career? I was just thinking about those 3 guys in particular.
Very, very interesting.
So
go. I'll tell you. All right. So when Wenger went to the English Premier League in the mid-90s, everyone says he is the catalyst for everything. Your chips and all that shit went to fucking. Where did Wenger manage before Arsenal?
Was he Japan now?
He was in Japan.
Right.
So, in my mind, I think that makes total sense. This is how to live your life. He's brought... Everyone learns traits when they're in any environment. I'm sure the French probably lived healthier than what they were with Paul Merson and that in their team anyway. I'm sure it would be difficult to improve these guys' diet. But I do believe when you look back at the Japanese thing, you go, interesting, the guy who's described as the catalyst of the Premier League evolving into being more about diet, fitness, well-being, getting proper athletes in the park, was Wenger. He came for Japan the year before Arsenal. I always think stuff like that's mad. So I think the way they're living shouldn't be shortening their career, whereas probably great examples would be like a Michael Owen. Shot, not because I'm saying he was eating like Scott Brown eating a kebab outside a hoodie up every night, but was he living as clean, as crazy healthy a lifestyle as what these guys were? Probably not. Probably not, because that wasn't our culture, our tradition, the way it worked over here. I think these traits are a good thing, but I also think what it does though, I mean, I think Maeda's a sign. Do you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of that Usyk boxing again. He reminds me of that Usyk where he's a quiet guy, but he's like, there's more personality to you than you let on. Way more personality to do you see the wee naughty fouls he does? You go, just because you look silent in that way, there's way more about him. He's got more to him than what we think. But in terms of his fitness, mate, I've got no concerns that his career will be a short one. Not at all.
And just to bring it round and tie in another knot, Ronnie Deila, it always sticks in my head. Ronnie Deila came in and he banned the tomato sauce from the from the menu.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
Ronnie
what difference does a little squirt of tomato sauce on the side of your plate make? But it obviously does. And Ronnie Dyla ties in with Bruges and brings all that stuff together. Anyway, we're 46 minutes in, Bhoycie, and we're only at 3-0. 35 minutes, Callum McGregor, 6 for the season, I believe. Another strike from outside the box.
No, Bernardo's is first. Bernardo scores.
Yeah, we done Bernardo.
Sorry. And then McGregor's like literally within a minute too. And this game went from looking like 2-0 coasting to suddenly like edge of the seats.
You're thinking 10.
Oh, fuck. You know me. Always. McGregor's playing better football than he did both the last 3 years. I mean, last season and the 2 under Ange. I think this is him looking more goal hungry like he did. Remember Rodgers' first spell? And he was a finisher, mate, for us. He scored a lot of goals. Now he's from a different range. Obviously, used to get the pockets in the box. He'd arrive late, and he was always a tidy finisher under Rodgers' first spell. But this time around, it's from a deeper position. But this boy knows who the goal is. Like, he strikes it true. I'll never understand how that's not one of the focal points opposition teams look at. Like, they should be obsessing with. Him at the edge of the area with 5 yards is not on. He doesn't get it. And he keeps doing it domestically right now. You give him 5 yard space, he gets the ball out for his feet quick, he'll hit it, and he's accurate. It was a stunning goal, mate.
He's going to hit double figures, Bhoycie, for the season, quite comfortably. I don't think I'm taking much of a risk in predicting that. How many holding midfielders score 10 plus goals in the season? Very, very few. And again, we know the level that we're playing at and take all of that into consideration. But
that shot goes in the back of the net, any level, though.
Yeah, it goes at any level at all. That ball goes in the back of the net. And McGregor, you've seen him evolve from, he was a 10. He was an attacking midfielder. He scored a lot of goals when he went out on loan that season. Whenever it was looking like he probably wouldn't have a career at Celtic, and he went down to Notts County, and he was electric down there, and then he came back. And he was a 10. He was a goal-scoring midfielder. You've seen him then evolve where he's then dropped back into the 8. He's then dropped back into the 6. The goals had kind of dried up. But I think he's taken on an added responsibility in terms of getting forward and getting the goals to compensate for the...
There's a chemistry with Rodgers, therefore.
Compensate from the goal, but also to compensate for the goals that we lost from Matt O'Reilly from last season.
Good point.
We haven't lost all those goals. They've just been shared about different people rather than one person getting all of those.
That's a great point. He's identified it himself as a captain.
I need to chip in here. I need to do my share of goals.
And probably reach out with Rodgers. I think those two have just something about them. Like, there's a reason that the only player Rodgers tried to bring to Leicester from Celtic was Callum McGregor.
Well, it's funny. I've only met Callum McGregor once, and I only briefly got his attention for a quick drunken photograph. And what I said to him was, it was the time when he was rumoured to be gone, and the irony, obviously, all I said to him was, "Please don't go and sign for that bastard Rodgers." That's what I said to him, and he goes, "No chance, mate. I'm here for keeps." And that's all he said. That was the end. The conversation went, "Can I get a quick photo, please, Callum?" And then I got my photo, and I said, "Do not go down to that bastard Rodgers." And he said, "Mate, I'm here. I'm here."
You wonder why this podcast can't get any guests.
So
that's what I'm working with, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm working with. But no, I do think Rodgers and him, for whatever reason, Callum McGregor became a Celtic player. He became a Celtic player under Rodgers. That is the truth. Dyla might have went, "Oh, I see something there." He became, "Oh, right, okay, he's a Celtic player in the fans' eyes under Brendan."
I think it's a mutual respect, Bhoycie. Rodgers has seen the talent that McGregor has got, and McGregor has seen the quality that the manager has got, and I think that's just a connection that they've had, and it is, as you say, it is testament that the only player that was ever really linked with Leicester was Callum McGregor. Yep,
the strike itself, let's just be honest, absolutely stunning. And this is now, when you start looking at stuff like that, the other teams in the league are opposition fans, even the ones that think they're still rivals. you just look at that and go, what the fuck do you do with that? Like, look how easy it is for Celtic in the space of 2 minutes to double a lead. Not a 1-goal lead, to double a 2-goal lead to a 4-0 lead. That easy, with really classy goals as well. The way that, like, even Bernardo's finish, I love the curl into the corner. McGregor's Thunder Bastard, six of the season, all very similar, but it's the quality that's stamped all over these, Terry. It's you go, they don't have Conor Carr, for example, getting rave reviews at the start of the season, ain't doing that when he gets the 5-yard space we speak about. You shouldn't allow a certain number 6. Give him that 5-yard space. Let's see what he does. Put it on his right foot.
We're talking about McGregor's 6 goals.
Yep.
That's 6 out of how many shots? How many times can you remember McGregor having one of these efforts that's gone wide or gone Rose Ed or gone Ryan Christie into fucking Edinburgh?
No. They're very, very
they're precise.
Yeah. Everyone's with a purpose. I do think he's a man that's playing right now with I think that's a great point about O'Reilly. I see a gap in the goal charts here. Not at a personal level. I mean, for Celtic's goal tallying, he's went, and I'm like, mate, you're all right. Like, we've scored 40.
But we're getting it, Bhoycie. We're getting it.
We've scored 40 in 13 games.
McGregor's taken his share. Kuhn has increased his ratio, and it's being shared around. Kuhn probably will surpass O'Reilly's numbers from last season. And see today I was just thinking as well, the way Celtic are playing now, can you imagine if we did actually still have O'Reilly and you had him into that mix? How good would that have been? But anyway, let's move on. Let's get to halftime. There was one more goal before the halftime. Maeda, I thought he was excellent in his appearance during the week, albeit he was only on for 15-20 minutes, but I thought he looked hungry. We talk about it all the time. He presented a different challenge to Bruges
I'm a big fan.
at a time when the game was in the balance. I thought he was good enough today as well. And I think as good as the finish was today, I love the quick feet. I love the way he was able to go from a tight position, get the ball shifted and get it into a position where he could get the strike away. And the strike was true. And I think slowly but surely, Maeda is coming to the boil close to where he was at that sort of prime time last season, that last 2 months of the season where everything he touched seemed to turn to gold and he scored so many important goals. I think it's been a slow burn this season. We've talked about why that might be. The protracted
loads of reasons.
The protracted transfer negotiations whenever it was really a done deal and it should have been done. There was probably, a part where a stage there where he was thinking, this move should have been done. I've left there. They've told me it's definitely happening. 3 months later, we're still dicking about, and he hasn't had
all his chips are in. All his chips are in on Celtic, and it looks like
he's totally.
Celtic don't now want me.
What am I supposed to do? I think there's all sorts of reasons why he might have not kicked in. He's getting there. He's warming up.
Do you remember his flick about 5 minutes in? He just does this flick, but it's like right off the heel. It goes about 5-6 yards. Not just to be fancy one. It was, I thought, right, he's at it. See that, like that? You were talking about swagger earlier. He does this flick as he's building up the play. And I think a lot of the times, Idah, it might not look easy on the eye, but he's holding up that ball, even if it's clumsy. Not because of his fault, because of how he's getting pressed by 2 guys around him. He still always finds a way for us to retain possession. That is so massive for us if we want to be some sort of European side, after Christmas that can actually maybe get results still, rather than just being grateful to be in a latter stage, whether it be 24, 16 or 8. That sort of stuff it's not easy in the eye. Who cares? He's managed to hold off the ball at one point. I think there was 2 players around him. I think it's one of their defenders that passes it and Callum McGregor picks it up. It's all his hold-up work that's doing that. Do you know what I mean? And these bits might not get you the plaudits, but they're okay. But what I love is that first half, 5 minutes in, he does that flick, and I thought, he's got more. He's shown the finesse that he's got as well. That finish was a guy who was fucked off. He wasn't in the scoring charts. What the hell are we doing 4-0 up and I've not scored? Give me it. Give me it. That is a finish, mate. That is a finish.
It's hunger, Bhoycie. It's hunger. He's got a desire. He's got a hunger to do well. I want to just touch really on Idah and Engels. they're the two big signings of the summer in terms of the fees. And I think it would be fair to say they're probably the two players that sections of the support have probably been a little bit underwhelmed by season to date. Do you think that's fair? They've come in for a bit of criticism that they've not produced the level of performance.
Okay. Engels signs. I've only made his fourth start this season so far. I'd be underwhelmed by that. But Luke McCowan only made his fourth start today, or third start today of the season. No one's underwhelmed by that.
Idah.
No. I'm talking about with the Engels and McCowan.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Think about it. If Engels is still 11 million,
totally.
He's only making his fourth start today, right? Forget what he does. Forget if he gets the 3 assists to go. But you're going, he's only made 4 starts. That to me would be really underwhelming. So it is the fee. Because
where I'm going with this one. You wouldn't be
questioning it if the reason that McCowan were going, right, he needs a chance now. But the reason no one's kicking off initially is because he wasn't 11 million.
Where I'm going with this one is I think both of these players will hold their value. If we were to sell both of those players in January, I genuinely think we'd get our money back on both of them. I genuinely think those players will hold their value. Arnie Engels is well regarded across Europe. He's now a Belgian international. He's been a first choice in their last 2 games. If Arnie Engels was available in January, I think we would get our money back and we'd probably get more on top. Even though he's possibly underwhelmed to supporters' expectation levels.
Unrealistic expectation.
I think if we sold him in January, we'd make a profit. And I think if we sold Idah in January, we'd get our money back.
What do you make of Rogers' comments on Friday?
I think it's telling that.
He says, let's all just... I love someone who can back up a point, right? With real examples, and the more recent, the better. That's the way I see it, Terry, right? The more recent, because it's more live in your mind, right? So when he goes, is this not where we were with Nicholas Kuhn? And he goes, shit, yeah. He goes, is this not... Remember Bernardo was the only loan? You know, we bought the... What he's saying is, remember we were all underwhelmed because it was a loan signing and we should be buying players. Remember that Bernardo guy now? It's actually ironically him you're chomping at the bit for. Go just learn from what's happened. When they work with me, they get fucking better. End of. And I loved that defensive. I thought it was important that he got that out. Bear in mind, what people forget as well, see the 2 Belgium games that Engels started both in? Sounds great on paper. They lost both. One of them's to Israel. Not going at that road. But Israel are shite. Belgium used to be ranked number 1 in the world for around 2 to 3 years, albeit not winning a competition. They were literally FIFA ranking number 1. And now Belgium are getting beat off teams like Israel. He'll be getting pelters back home as well as the rest of that team as well.
I believe they're going to get a new manager who's going to sort the whole thing out, actually.
I know, but my phone's not rang, but big Philippe Clement's. But you know what I mean? Think about bringing that back as just turned 21. We've just had a really unexpected defeat. 2 defeats. I've started both fucking games. I'm getting pelters back home. I come back and now folk are at the club I'm at, give me pelters too when there was guys way worse than me midweek. That's not easy to navigate at 21. I thought Rogers was brilliant with him on Friday. Brilliant the way he spoke and backed it up with evidence. I think that's fair.
I think that's twice the manager's done that. He's done that previously with Engels because we picked up on it and we discussed it previously. He sent the same message twice. This is a young kid. He's not the finished article. He's got lots of potential, and I believe he's going to become a really good player for the football club. See, in terms of the Belgian thing, I totally get it. Belgium are shite, but in the world that we live in, where images,
but the guys they'll be the faces of it, Terry. See that drop off from like De Bruyne and that, like they're crazy good players. So see when the drop off does naturally happen, because Belgium's a smaller, same size country as Scotland. There was never going to be a continual generation after generation of that mad level, but you'll be the face of it either way. So that isn't easy to deal with.
Rightly or wrongly, Belgium are regarded as one of the top nations in Europe, and you think about the squad, you think about the players. Kevin De Bruyne, albeit at the end of his career and not playing an awful lot, you still associate him with the Belgian national team, and you see Engels as a starter for that team, and De Bruyne is not in it, even though he's injured. It doesn't really matter. So some idiot will go and take a punt just on the basis that he's a Belgian cap and he's playing, and De Bruyne is not in the team, and this guy is. That's just how fickle the world is.
Belgium will be like Scotland as well, though, mate, in terms of their press. Like, I mean, like the reporting, the journalism and stuff, and they'll be going.
Well, that press, not trying to get the ball back.
Not the Club Brugge press. But like he'll been one of the faces of the pelters going, how far away have we fallen? Yada yada. I remember Scotland playing Belgium back in, I think it was a playoff. What was a playoff for? The World Cup 2002? We played them. I think it was that. We played Belgium, and they were shite, mate. Like, obviously Scotland was shite too. But they were never a great side. They've had this wee golden era of 5-6 years where they won fuck all, did no big dent in the tournament, but because of their ranking, what they were doing qualifiers were number one, got this huge hype. They're back to default now. But Engels, you're right. It's sexy that he plays for a Belgium side that is now still associated with mid-30s or late 30s, Hazard who's retired, De Bruyne who's 33, 34, Lukaku who's no kicked the ball for 5 years. But all these guys at one point were shit hot. They're not now. But by saying you're a Belgian, it does carry more weight.
Exactly. It adds 10 million onto the fee. See that Belgium, that golden generation that won nothing. Mate. The golden generation that won nothing. Yes, see the golden squad. The thing that let that down is Dedrick Boyata was playing centre back.
And that's when you kind of get back to it and you go, how good really fucking were the rest? Like, Boyata. So Boyata doesn't make, I mean, in terms of centre backs you've seen in the last 25 years at Celtic, what team's he getting in? Like, as a first choice?
I see a lot of fans, Bhoycie. I see a lot of fans that
you got a lot of love because of the improvements he made. And I'm like, that's clever, Boyata. Start off that shite. Then when you start doing simple things, you get loads of applause.
Boyata was terrible. He was terrible. And I get a lot of flack because I think, and I've said it before, and I'll get all the comments. I thought Bobo was very, very limited. Dedrick Boyata was terrible. He was terrible, and I'll never forget the night that he just walked off. He had some kind of injury. We couldn't make any more subs, and he just walked off. I think he was running down his contract, and he just walked off the pitch, and I just thought, fuck off. I thought Boyata was fucking absolutely dreadful. But despite what I was watching every week in a Celtic jersey,
he was in the golden.
Belgium played with three at the back, and they played with Alderweireld, Vertonghen, and
either Boyata or Denayer.
No, it was the Arsenal. It was the guy that played for Arsenal.
Vermaelen.
It was the Arsenal's. Vermaelen, Vertonghen, and Alderweireld. That was the first three. Yep. But if any one of those three wasn't available, Boyata was the next in line.
And decent Denayer.
And Denayer didn't play.
Celtic.
I know that. But Boyata was part of that golden team that were favourites to win the European Championships or one of the fancy teams for the World Cup. He was part of that. Hazard, De Bruyne was the midfield, and all sorts of fucking players playing for him. And you're just looking at Boyata and you're going, really?
I know.
Anyway, that's us harping back. We're an hour and 4 in. We've only made it half time, but the talking points are probably mostly done. Yang comes on at half time. I thought he was absolutely superb, scintillating in that second half. Yang, he's chomping at the bit. He's
the biggest lion. I'm looking at you.
That was a bit of a drop off. Second half, Bhoycie.
He is a drop off, isn't it?
It is a drop off, yeah. It is a drop off.
He's a big drop off.
Of course it is. I'm still waiting for that golden moment where Yang does something special. Maybe he'll score the winner.
P.M.P. will be cancelled that day. P.M.P. will be cancelled.
The excuse for today was he was on his wrong side. He should have been on the right. But the second half was pretty much Celtic keep the ball. we had chances. We hit the woodwork. The keeper made a few good saves, but it kind of just petered out into job done. Let's preserve the legs. We made more changes. So Yang came on for Maeda, Engels came on for McGregor, Ralston came on for Johnson, Hatate then came on for McCowan. So loads of changes.
Is that not as well, the management-wise, going, if we've got the job done at half-time, I can rest players that's going to be crucial against Aberdeen. Crucial.
Yeah.
I can actually make it. It's so brilliant to go, right, everything's going to plan here. I can now take guys out of the equation, the results in the bag, the 3 points are done, and now I can actually start thinking of conditioning and getting the right guys at their optimum for poor Aberdeen, who I think are, if they think they've had a fright so far this season, or they think that the second half against us at Celtic Park was some sort of measure and levelling thing for them, just wait till we get to Pittodrie. I honestly think we will batter them. The same way Rodgers did. If you ever remember the game, Dembele scored a header at the back post, Tierney scored one, and at that point, it was all meant to be level pegging and all that shite. Rodgers' second season. And we went up there. I think we beat them 3-0 that day. I am convinced we're about to watch, sadly, probably, because it might let, the other team that's meant to be doing okay, might let them back in, but I think it'll be a reality check. And again, remember we spoke about it before with Rodgers with the League Cup? Pissed off they didn't win it last year. He's annoyed that they've took points off him. Watch the change. I think Pittodrie will be a fantastic night for us and a real reckoning for them.
It's just a pity for me that it's a midweek game, albeit midweek games always, a nighttime game always feels...
It's a better spectacle.
Yeah, it is. It just feels better. But just when you've got work and stuff like that, kind of thinking, if that was next Saturday night or next Saturday afternoon, that'd be fucking brilliant. But it's not. But
the
it's
game's
very,
not the same though.
It's very seldom, Bhoycie, no matter what the score is, no matter what the position is in the game, it's very rare that he brings McGregor off, or any Celtic manager brings McGregor off. Now, that's a couple of times they've done it this season, and maybe it's a bit far-fetched to think that the manager's already thinking about a future without McGregor. That's far-fetched. It's taken it a bit far, but at some point, whether it's Brendan Rodgers or whether it's someone coming after Brendan Rodgers, at some point, Celtic do have to start planning.
It's not as deep as that, mate, though. That's way too
No,
deep.
it's probably not as deep as that. I'm just thinking.
Why give him another 30 minutes against Ross County in the season cold with a away game against second place in the league?
I totally do. I totally do. I think it's just about thinking about Wednesday night. But I'm going to think about it a bit deeper. That at some point in the next 2-3 years, we're going to have to be a Celtic that doesn't have Callum McGregor. And I think it'll become more frequent that he gets time off to try and prolong his career and make sure that when he is playing a bit, I'll probably not get to the stage with James Forrest.
I think these things are natural, though. These are natural evolutions of players. Right now, what he brings to the team is he's pivotal to it all. He is the first pick in the side right now. Yeah, he's getting older. Cool. We'll go do 5 in the first half. That gives us the opportunity to give him half an hour respite. I don't think it's as far. No. So much can change.
My mind's too busy, boss. I've already gone.
I think you're not romantic about McGregor not being the team, but you're thinking of the.
No, he's my favourite player.
He's so associated with the side. But the managers like Rodgers isn't thinking any of that shit right now. He's going.
Yeah, but we're fans. We're allowed to be dreamy and
of course. True.
And what I'm thinking is,
like, being subbed off's got fuck all to do with that.
No, but what I'm thinking is McGregor starting to withdraw and wind down.
There's nothing like that, I'd see.
No.
There's no winding down. Far from it.
Lennon Miller.
Lennon Miller should already be a Celtic player. I told you this in the summer. He should be at Motherwell still, doing what he's doing at Motherwell.
But I was thinking, yes.
Contacted to us.
I was thinking, if in a totally different world, I was the person trying to persuade Lennon Miller to come to Celtic, I think my angle would be, we see you as the successor to Callum McGregor. and we're going to, this is your plan for 2 years. Callum McGregor gets phased out. You get phased in. The first phase of that is you stay at Motherwell for the rest of this season. I would even go, do you know what? You can stay at Motherwell for the first half of next season as well, and we'll watch your development. Then you'll come back to us. Then we'll phase you in. I'm trying to think, how do we sell this to this guy? Because the money's not a problem.
Shouldn't be a problem. That's not a tough sell. You're about to work with an elite manager. Look what I do with the rest of them. Any chance you're paying attention? You must see what I do with players. Roger's reputation in the football circles, forget his rat persona, all that shite. That seeing they'll go, you get better if you play under him. That's how Moussa Dembele left Fulham to come up here initially. And by the way, the caveat to that, of course, that annoys me is we became, I felt, Stepping Stone FC. That Rodgers, I think, first time around, maybe not so much this time, but first time around definitely was selling Celtic to players as, come here, do well for a year now, maybe even 2 years, now get you a better move. Now it doesn't need to be said. It's not a selling point. We just know that's how the game works. But instead you go, come with fucking Celtic and you'll be tested. But we think you're up to it. It's us who think you're up to it, not fucking you getting to judge us. Fuck that.
I'm excited about this lad, and I really want us to get it done.
He's got to get signed. We can't afford the best youth players in the country, Terry, to leave without them. No, we get it. Celtic says he doesn't get in that midfield. That's not about that midfield. What is that midfield? What is that midfield, San Fran Celtic? Look, Terry, what is that midfield? We've just proven today there is no that midfield. It's about the options, and it's also about being the big shark in a small pond.
If Lennon Miller's with us and we play the cup final tomorrow, he doesn't start the match. That's fine. I totally get that. I totally agree with that. But Lennon Miller, to me, is an investment in the medium to long term future. I think he's a player similar to Brown. You
get them, mate. You fucking get them.
He's got leadership quality. He's captain Motherwell at the age of 17. This guy, do you remember probably about a year ago, we were talking about two players with real potential in Scottish football. There was him and there was Watson at Kilmarnock. Miller's kicked on. Watson, possibly not so much. That's not to say that he won't kick on again, but it's very difficult with young players. Sometimes they fizzle out and retreat and nothing happens.
This one's a live one, mate.
This guy feels different. A live one. This guy feels different, and this is something that I want at Celtic. But there's a couple of hurdles, 3 hurdles that I see that need to be overcome. I think he's got leaning towards Rangers. That doesn't matter. That's the easiest hurdle to overcome. We just sell success. English Premiership teams interested. That one possibly makes it difficult. And the other one is game time. And I think we overcome the game time one by loaning him back to Motherwell. I'm not bothered if it's 6 months. I'm not bothered if it's 18 months. He can go back and play for Motherwell as long as he wants.
12.
I think he is the heir to the McGregor throne. I think we invest in this guy. We get him in. If he goes back and plays for Motherwell, brilliant. If he doesn't, he'll get plenty of game time. Celtic are playing in this revamped Champions League, assuming we can keep making our way into it. And the thing about how we're doing this season, Bhoycie, yes, there's qualifiers next year, but if we can get
the coefficient must be increasing right now.
If we can get a good foothold in this, that improves things for 2, 3,
before 4, we go down that road, that's a different. Back to the Lennon Miller thing. Just before we go into that, for me, Martin Isbert's right. You don't let them become McGinn's, Ferguson's. McGinn's that's the Villa captain, and regarded it. If you tried to buy me at 30, 50. Well done.
50 at his peak. They were talking 50 at his peak.
They probably still need to pay that to get him, though. Villa's now, he's unsellable like Callum McGregor. He might not be a 50 million player, but what price do you put on him being out their team? You can't. Lewis Ferguson.
Just him again. I believe he still wants to play for Celtic at some point.
Yeah, I don't doubt that either. But
not when he's 35.
Yeah, so there. You know what I mean? Lewis Ferguson, Serie A Foreign Player of the Year last year. Serie A Foreign Midfield of the Year, I think it was. Or was he just Serie A Midfield of the Year? Someone could correct me. These you can't let go under your grasp, regardless of what the options are in your midfield right now. You think it'll be tricky for you. I'll answer that straight away. Lennon Miller turns around and goes, I'll be in the team.
Yeah, it's up to him.
That's the fucking attitude.
Yeah.
Not, I don't know. Remember, I'll tell you, we'll go back to the Roy Keane stuff. I'll tell you this. You know why he signed? It's in his second book. Why he signed for Celtic?
Because that was something he wanted to do.
No, wait, no, let me get there. It's the opposite. That's what I thought, romance. He goes, obviously, I've always liked Celtic.
Off.
Let me just tell you instead of you guessing.
I know what it is. He said to piss Strachan off because he fucking dissed him in the conversation.
You tell the story. Right, but imagine him at Kevin Bridges' concert.
It's my show.
True.
It's my show.
You're right.
No, you tell us the Roy Keane
So he says he went to London, met Strachan in a restaurant. He goes, I've got Real Madrid on the phone off my 18 month. Everton, who I've always liked, 18 month. I've got Gordon Shanks saying, bill off your 18 month, but the problem is Lennon and Neil Lennon at 35, 36, 35 would have been. He's going, Lennon and Petrov are in great form. So it'll be tricky for you to get in the team. And Keane was like, get you. He goes, now that is when I went, no, I'm not having it. I won't get. I just wonder with stuff like that, that could trigger players. It's a good attitude. That's him at 34, 35. Real Madrid, I'll see you later. I've just been told by a prick I won't get in the Celtic team. Lennon Miller going, have a Chelsea looking at me, Arsenal looking at me. You think I won't get in your team? Give me the ball. I'll show you. That's the attitude you want for players, is it not?
You've got to hand it to Reece Strachan, though. Having the neck just to tell Roy Keane, nah, I don't think you'll get to sign. I don't want you to sign. If I was you, I wouldn't sign. I can't see you getting the game. Strachan's brilliant. But Real
Madrid, it'll be easier to get in their team, son.
And I know Roy Keane's putting that in his book, but Roy Keane did want to play for Celtic, but that was just.
He was fucked off at that, though. No, but the truth, he was annoyed at that, though.
But see, at the end of the day, Strachan was proved to be right. Roy Keane done fuck all for Celtic. He won good game. One good game. Fuck.
I loved it.
He also was in the team that lost to Clyde. Do you know
that's not his fault.
Who says it? He was on the
Hartson, he says, he
was on the pitch.
He says, I get on the bus and John Hartson's got a packet of Monster Munch and Iron Bruni.
Was Keane not on the pitch that day? Was he not playing?
No.
I didn't see him send anybody, I'll see you out there.
No. He didn't.
He did. Roy Keane played beside Dewey.
No, it wasn't his fault, though.
Don't be a baby.
He said he got in the bus after the game thinking everyone would be raging.
No. I'm delighted that those signings don't seem to be happening anymore. The Roy Keane, the Freddie Ljungberg, the fucking Ian Wright, all these stupid. Robbie Keane's a wee bit different. He wasn't at his absolute prime, but he was still a fucking.
Oh no, he was. He was 29.
He wasn't at his prime. He still was quality. He still was quality. Bellamy was different.
He was a dream.
Different class.
He was
unreal. We only got him because he had the balls to fucking stand up to Sinis. That's the only reason we got him.
Do you know what happened then, though? Celtic went to play like a friendly midweek or something in Ireland, right? Some charity game or testimony. And they've all had a drink. And Sutton's went, huh? Give me your phone, Craig. Sutton's text for Craig Bellamy's phone to Shearer saying, you're a wanker, you're shite. But Shearer's believed it was Bellamy. He's like, you'll never play for Newcastle again.
It was all Sutton. But he's a wanker.
Apparently that was all Sutton. Going ahead, you fell out with him. Give me your phone. Text Shearer.
Bellamy would have sent it himself, Bhoycie. Bellamy would have sent it himself.
I think it was Sutton.
What about the one where the guy was waiting at the airport for Man City coming up to play Rangers? I think it was. He wouldn't sign the shirt. He goes, nah, no chance. No chance.
I know.
No chance. That was the one, Bhoycie, over the years. There was two signings I really, really wanted over my lifetime that could have happened but didn't happen. David Ginola.
He was there.
Fergus fucked it up at the last minute. All the good things Fergus McCann done for Celtic.
He was in the ground too.
He ruined it all. He ruined it all with that. Ginola would have been amazing. And Bellamy. I knew it was odds against it we would have got Bellamy.
Do you don't think it's to do with O'Neill leaving as well?
Well, Bellamy himself basically said the money that Celtic offered, and he referenced about all the different good things that he did with his wages. He said, I earn X, but I do all this stuff. And he said, if I reduced my pay to sign for Celtic, other good things that I did with my money would have suffered. That was his reasoning. Whether that's the real reason
there
or
must
not,
have been a bit of knowledge as well that Martin's not going to be there.
Fucking unbelievable.
Martin can't pitch the idea though. Like when I'm in, because Martin was left end of that season, so I think that's a huge thing too.
Well, the only thing that's crazy about Bellamy's time is we didn't win that league.
No, I know.
And we didn't win the league when Robbie Keane was there either.
It was a Scott fucking McDonald. Yeah, I know, but we were. See the Robbie Keane thing. Remember that? That was patronising, mate. That wasn't to salvage a league title. That was to show keep all the fans on side. We were done.
That totally undermined what the manager was doing.
We were done by then.
Totally undermined.
No, that was them going. We just paid $4 million for Fortuny because of the manager's ideas. Take that off him. You know what I mean? Like Mowbray was way out his depth at Celtic, mate. Way out his depth. Like, carry on.
I was surprised, Bhoycie, because Mugger was one of my favourites. I loved him as a player, and see when he was a Hibs manager. Watching Hibs team play, I was so excited about Mowbray coming to Celtic, but it just didn't happen. We didn't have the results, but we didn't even have any sprouts of the team.
Bottom of the EPL, mate. He'd finished bottom of the EPL with West Brom the season before. Like, to me, it was like, it doesn't inspire folk. Or we're getting the bottom team, like EPL's man, just been relegated by West Brom. That's a coup.
And we had to haggle for him and pay over the odds to get him.
It's like, where's John Collins? He's the one who won the League Cup of Hibs, not fucking him.
JC. Right. We haven't really touched on the second half, but there wasn't an awful lot to touch on. Let's look ahead slightly then. So we've had today, we've got a bit of rest into a lot of legs.
Yep. What
happens Wednesday night? Is it Wednesday or Tuesday? I should even know.
No,
I should know. I'm
not well prepared. Mate. I'm always the same.
I'm not well prepared.
No, you're right.
I think it's Wednesday. Someone
will be already in the chat going, fuck.
Somebody stick it up there. Stick it up there, somebody.
Oh.
I think it's Wednesday.
Right, let's just say midweek.
Midweek. Oh, that keeps it fucking.
That's how I do it. I'm struggling, mate. You go vague.
Okay. What's the team look like? What's the starting lineup?
For me, this is Zagreb away, yeah?
No, this is Aberdeen away.
Oh, fuck Aberdeen. Jeez, old boys.
The plan. Right, listen.
Name it of that.
Aberdeen, Hibs, Zagreb, Cup final. That's the next four.
So I think Vi stays in the team. I think Trusty comes in with an unfortunate knock for Scales. Just my hunch.
Does he come in for Scales then?
In my opinion, yeah, he will. I think so. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I just think that's what will happen. In terms of midfield, it's got to be a loser out there.
He goes back to the three from the Champions League game.
I think it will be Bernardo takes Engels' jersey.
Nah, doesn't happen.
And Hatate takes McCowan's. So there'll be one change, and it'll be Bernardo's instead of Engels.
No, I would.
It should be McCowan, by the way. This isn't me.
It goes back to McGregor, McGregor, Engels, and Hatate, and then next weekend we see a team like today's. That's what I think.
So you think, but that is then almost setting that. Like the one thing I always hate to think he would have is that these are the first picks. These are your backup.
He has his first.
Do you think that'll be that? Honestly,
he has his first picks. He said it again today. He's always at pains to say, "I'll pick it for the match." His three is Engels, McGregor, Hatate. They're the three that start at Aberdeen. It doesn't matter.
I think
Bernardo and McCowan were energetic and scored today and played really well.
Wouldn't be enough.
I think Bernardo's like to try and test it during the week, and then he goes back to a team like today. Bernardo and McCowan come back in for Hibs at home. But I've asked you the question. So you've covered the back line. You've sort of touched on the midfield. What
midfield? It'll be Bernardo, McGregor,
Hatate for Aberdeen.
I don't know if he likes Hatate.
He loves Hatate. He loves Hatate.
I don't think Rogers. I don't think Hatate's Rogers' guy. I don't think McCowan's quite there yet either. I think McCowan's on this tight leash. But if it were me, I would play
Engels, McGregor, and Bernardo.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
No, I think Hatate comes in.
But anyway.
What's your front three then? Self-explanatory. Kuhn, Maeda. Who's the centre forward for Aberdeen?
Rogers, I think, will go back to Kyogo.
100%.
You will. I don't get it though.
I think the team that
If it
plays
were me,
Aberdeen,
it would definitely be Idah. But I think you're right. I think it will be Kyogo.
I think the team that plays Aberdeen will be the team that started against Bruges. I think he goes back to
the whole team.
The whole team will be.
Bernardo will start. I think Bernardo definitely starts.
No,
it's who he takes, whose place he takes. Bernardo will start. I'm convinced he starts midweek.
Okay, we'll talk about it. I think it's McGregor, Engels, and Hatate again for Aberdeen away. And the only other thing that I think would be a change is if he gives Trusty a bit of time off because of the baby and all that. But I think the starting lineup for Aberdeen is Schmeichel, Johnson, Carter Vickers, Trusty, Taylor, McGregor.
Taylor instead of Ivy.
Yeah, I think Taylor will be back in for Aberdeen.
No, I definitely.
No, I definitely think so. McGregor, Hatate, Engels, Kuhn, Kyogo, Maeda. I just think,
the Champions League team.
I think it's nailed on, and then I think next Saturday it goes back to something like today.
Wow.
But we'll see.
But that's it's good. It's absolutely fair opinion, mate. Of course, it's fair, and it's based on evidence too, which I don't mind. I think there'll be, believe it or not, McCowan's the guy with the goal and 3 assists today. 3 assists. Actually, that's a no-brainer for anyone who does that to then start the next game. Fair? But I think Bernardo's the one if he sticks with one, my hunch is he will. It'll be Bernardo, not McCowan.
I think he'd revert to type. I think that, just laughing at Mark Ryan's point, now that's brilliant. Who else other than Martin would have the brass neck to offer Rivaldo a trial? Do you know what I mean? Who else but Martin and me?
But I think that all that stuff. See what annoyed me as well? I seen an interview with Martin. I love him on. We've got a klaxon and everything, don't we? Do we still have it?
We used to have a klaxon.
Do we still? Oh no, there we go.
My favourite quote of all time. Favorite quote of all time.
No, wait, let me get there on the Rivaldo thing.
Do you know what it is?
No, let me get in the Rivaldo thing though. He did an interview recently on the radio. He says, we were offered it because it's not quite what it was though. He was coming right to the end of his career.
Yeah.
But it was bullshit, mate, right? Because I'm good with dates of birth.
Well, he was
32. He was 32, mate. He went on to have 4 years. 32. No, he wasn't, mate. Let me explain again. If Olympiacos, go look at Rivaldo's stats there for the next 3, if not 4 years. Very similar league to Scotland's level. He became their club captain. He was unbelievable there, the same way he would have been with us. I hate that. He was he just left Barcelona, mate. 32. That is not.
Okay.
Neil loved folk in their 30s.
He's still very good.
Better than very good. If we think Luke McCowan's very good, Rivaldo at 32, mate, is fucking unbelievable. Right?
So what's Martin's role in this then?
I think he was a skeptic. And I think Celtic probably didn't really think it was happening anyway.
Okay.
So they went for Juninho instead, mate.
My favourite quote of all time. You know this. I've said it many times.
Oh, the John Hartson.
Get warmed up, John. You're coming up.
Yeah, someone said in the live chat the best.
I almost said it today in one of the kids' games. There was I just was about to say, "Can you get warmed up?" You're coming up. It's just one of them ones.
It's class, and he said that in the moment. I love the fact as well. He said, one time only. Henrik, what are you doing? We've been rubbish to first. Larsson just looked at me and went, "Fuck off." He went, the only guy who could ever say that to me. He went out and scored 2 goals. Second half, we won the game. Facts.
It's great to see, Bhoycie. It's great to see.
I love the fact Larson's looked up and went, wait now. I don't mind it, but the rest of those fucking dafties. But me, you don't get to critique. Larson just looked up and went, fuck off. When he was like, normally I'd be raging at someone saying that. He goes, all right, 2 goals second half. I'll never say that to him again.
It's great to see. It's great to see 20 years on, Henrik, Martin, Sutton, Hartson all getting together this week. It's great that stuff like that happens, and it's just testament to how good that team was and how special that team was in the history of Celtic. And hopefully in 20 and 30 years there'll be get-togethers where it's maybe Callum McGregor and Kyogo and
that's the chance they've got, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Is that not the chance they've got this season? Talking real, this season, that's your opportunity. Go do something. Go, you've created already.
Go make yourself a legend. Go make yourself a legend. Like, even think back to Brendan's first spell on that Invincible team. How many of those guys will be having celebratory nights in 20 years' time? No. Scott Sinclair, guys like that. They came in, they did a job, they moved on.
In Europe.
They're not legends. They're not legends.
They did nothing in Europe.
Like, we're having legends nights now for Larson and Sutton, Hartson, Martin O'Neill, Lenny, guys like that. They're all legends. How many of this team will there be?
Europe, mate.
Will be legends in 20 years' time.
All about Europe. I've said it the whole time I've been on this channel. We're approaching our third birthday, Terry, in 5 days. 4 days, I think. But
this is a special year in terms of Europe, boys. I think this is special.
Yeah, agreed. So there's your chance. You've opened the door.
Let's go and do it.
Kick it open. Kick it fucking open, though. Don't let it fucking get shut back on you. Like, go kick it open.
I think you're totally right, Bhoycie, because you can hark back to years where Celtic have won a league season, Rangers came second, or there was a period of dominance for one team and then a period of dominance for another. When you look back and you think of the legends of this club, it's the Lisbon Lions and it's the team of Seville. It's not the team that did the Invincible in the SPL under Brendan. It's not the team that pipped Rangers to the championship in 1960 this or 70 this or 80 this. It's the guys that went the extra mile and not only had domestic success, but also had a real degree of European success. I think that's really, really important. They're the guys that still get celebrated when they're older and when they're not even here. There's guys that are getting celebrated.
So I'll give you a comparison. Think how many cup games O'Neill lost. He didn't win the treble every year, did he?
No, he didn't. Of course he didn't.
So what I'm trying to say, though, is we've seen adversity with this team. And I think last year was our year of adversity under Rodgers. That's when you went, even though it was a double, we went fucking critiquing the side. We've now seen it grow. That gives you a bigger connection with them. That works for me. I know what it's like when you're the Scottish Cup final 2002, when we lost that Livingston's last minute goal. See the fucking connection you've then got with that Celtic team that then go to Seville the next year is mad, because you've seen them at their worst, but you've watched them fucking come back. And I think Rodgers never had any of that in his first spell. It was just Europe, and it got described as, well, the gulf's too big. It was lazy sort of scrutiny. Whereas domestically, it was such a coast. Whereas now we've seen a team that wasn't great. We've seen Rodgers under the cosh. We've seen guys want Rodgers out. Even us questioning maybe even myself, even I went, yeah. And even I thought maybe, and I think now this year you're going, look, it's so satisfying to see it grow on all fronts. We're dominating the league like we weren't this time last year, but we're doing stuff in Europe that's not been achieved in years already. With 8 points for 5 games. Folks say the format's helped, and I go, you're there to win points. It doesn't fucking matter. the fucking format. You'll play the exact same amount of seeded teams percentage-ly than you were before. It's just you play them once now instead of twice, which is, I think, a better format anyway for everyone. But what we have looked like as a Celtic side right now has the potential for that sort of connection to be back to what it was before. And I hope that's the case.
Okay, Bhoycie. So to bring the show to a close, I want to just touch on two things. I want to get your thoughts on, we've talked about the next 4 games across the next fortnight and how important they are in terms of 3 different competitions. So just to recap, away to Aberdeen in the league, home to Hibs in the league, away to Zagreb in the Champions League, and then the League Cup final. I'm not going to ask you which of those games is the most important, but I'm going to ask you which of those games are you most looking forward to and why?
Zagreb away. That holds the most jeopardy for me. Because if we lose that, the doubt creeps in the European level again. And for whatever reason, because of that big break as well, potentially, the Young Boys Bern match that's then upcoming, they don't seem as shite as what they might seem if we're playing them. If it was them instead of Zagreb, for example, in a week's time, right? They're murder. But because we lose that game in Zagreb, that confidence, that European level, we didn't win it at home to Bruges. We expected to. We've got beaten in Zagreb. Suddenly everything starts becoming a bit panicky. And young boys Bern start becoming this team way, way exaggerated of their levels because we're now in panic mode. So that's the one that comes with the most jeopardy. I look at the League Cup final. Let's be real. It's the petty stuff between the two clubs that makes it relevant. I'll see a million finals still before I die, hundreds of years away, against Rangers that will win. It doesn't fear me the most. Aberdeen away, my honest truth is they won't last the race anyway, and Rangers are too far out the race to last. You already called the league 2 weeks ago, so and the Hibs one's just whatever.
Okay. I've teased you into a corner, and now I'm going to go for the sucker punch. Zagreb away, Rangers in the League Cup final. You can choose to win one game, but you must lose the other one.
Zagreb every time. Zagreb. Yeah. Done. There's literally no doubt in my mind. Celtic have won 36 or something like that, League Cups. And
it'd be an interesting one. I know we don't do polls and stuff. It'd be an interesting one to get the percentage on.
I think
one game, but you must lose the other.
But that's how the conditioning's happened the last 20 years. The League Cup, the third rate.
Do you think if we polled it? Do you think if we polled it amongst the support? What do you think the poll would say?
Generationally, I think it would be different. I think up 30 and under would 100% pick the Rangers final. I think the older ones that have got real memories of European success, then even older that have the big cup success in their minds, all pick Zagreb away. They'll see another 10, 15 League Cups before we go. We up like or however many. We'll see this shit over and over again. That's a cycle. See, Europe is few and far between big successes. You go for the win. You get that win in Croatia, and you've then got 2 games to potentially get top 8 in fucking Europe. Come on. That's the real deal. League Cups, they're sponsorless half the time. Nobody cares, mate, honestly. But because it's Rangers, the pettiness will creep in, and the young generation are conditioned to think that's our pinnacle. That's our peak, is being miles ahead of Rangers. That's all we do. It's not.
So thankfully, we don't have to make that decision, and we can go and we can get the result in both games. Last one then, Bhoycie. What's coming up over the week on the bus? Tuesday show, the guys primed for a Tuesday.
Phil's got the reins, mate. I mean, if Phil's on the Tuesday, buzzing. But of course, they'll be doing the Tuesday.
Mark on the Thursday, then the Friday night guys.
The usual are we not midweek?
You and me will have a post match after Aberdeen, yeah.
So it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the bus.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Friday
Thursday.
Feeling Phil normally
Friday
does.
Feeling.
So we're still getting through plenty, mate. Plenty.
And then I'm in Glasgow from 9 o'clock next Saturday morning till Monday afternoon at the absolute earliest. It'll be carnage. I'm bringing the laptop, so we will probably be a little bit later because I'll be making my way back to the hotel after the game. So you're probably talking 6, half 6, 7 latest. We'll do a post-match, me from the hotel.
I might just go up to the hotel.
Well, that's entirely up to you. That would be good. That's up to you.
Sounds great.
No, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to next weekend. Me and the brother Frank flying over on.
Oh, is Frank coming?
Oh no, Frank's coming. No, you're not.
Oh no, I'll see you online.
No, I'll see you online. No, I'll need to. I've told him we have to have at least one sit down meal every day just to try and keep him on the straight and narrow because it's no fun when you're getting turned away from bars at 6 o'clock in the evening because
he's on an empty stomach.
You know what I mean?
And all the bar staff are like this.
Fuck off.
Right, that'll do us. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Hail. Brilliant result today. Cheers, Terry. Well done hosting, by the way. Better than I thought. Cheers.